So today I decided I will make bread. Bread is one of my favorites. I really believe it's something amazing. With very few ingredients you make a big, nice and tasty loaf. It's quite simple on the one hand because it has very few ingredients, but on the other hand it needs a lot of work with the kneading and the rising. With this recipe you can make 2 big loaves. If you want to keep them for later, you can just cut them into pieces, put them in the freezer, and then before you want to eat them, just a little bit before you take them out, and it will be just as good as a fresh one. So I wish you lots of fun with the recipe, enjoy, and have a very nice breakfast. To do is to take a big bowl and to sieve the flour. Then you add the yeast and you mix everything. Then you add the water, and after adding the water it's time to knead for the first time. So the dough will be quite wet, but as you will see along the kneading, it will become one big piece of dough. So after you knead it for the first time, it's time to add the sugar and the salt. You will knead again for about 2 minutes, and you will notice that the dough is quite dry, but don't worry, we will solve that in a second. You now take the butter. It should be, as you can see, quite soft, but not too soft, so you can combine it quite well with the dough. And you should be kneading this for about 5 minutes at first, and then another 20 minutes. In the end, the dough should be quite elastic, soft, and it should feel dry. So you should make sure that all the butter is combined really well with the dough. So the kneading part is over, and we move on to the rising. You take a bowl that is about double the size of your dough, you flour it, and then you place the dough inside. It's important to cover it also with a plastic wrap or with a wet towel. After you've prepared the dough to rise, you put it in a place where it's warm. That's very important. It should not have any open windows. And you leave it there to rise for about 20 minutes until it has doubled in size. After about 20 minutes, you will see that the dough has doubled in size, so it's time to take it out. First, you will flatten the dough with your hands to take out the air, and you take it out, and it's time to cut it in 2 pieces, depending on the size of your bread pan. When shaping the bread, it's also important that the part that is, let's say, more open should be on the downside of the bread, and the upper side should be one piece and not have any cracks in there. When you're done shaping the bread, you place it in a big tray. Just like the previous time, you make sure it's covered with a plastic wrap, and then you place it in a warm place for about 20 minutes until again it has doubled in size. While the bread is rising for the second time, you can already take your bread pans, butter them with soft butter, and make sure that you cover all corners. This will make it a lot easier to take out the bread once it's baked. Now we're at the final part of the rising process, which means that we're gonna take again the 2 pieces of dough that have doubled in size and place them in their final shape. Before we do that, again you take out the air of the dough as you did before. You make a shape and make sure that the open part, as we mentioned before, is down and the top is one even piece. Place the 2 pieces of dough in their bread pan. You cover them with a plastic wrap and you let them rise for 45 to 60 minutes until they have doubled in size. As you will notice, when they have risen, the bread will be a bit higher than the bread pan, but that's okay, that's the way it should be. And now we're almost ready to bake. So before we put the bread in the oven, we take the bread pans and on top of the bread we make small cuts. This will make them look nicer. When you have made the small cuts, you can also sprinkle some water, just pure water, on top of the breads. This will make them more crispy while baking. So now we're all set to bake the bread. That was it for our bread recipe. I hope it got a good rise, it got a good color, and you enjoy it for breakfast this week. Bye!